So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, I'm in a stringer, man. It's flipping boiling. So I've had to wear my vest because I'm absolutely, I'm flipping. I'm literally in this room's like an oven right now, you know, and I'm hot as anything. So yeah, I wanted to make a quick video about Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez. Wow, beef. We're talking about beef here. Serious beef between. And listen, I don't like to see this. Oscar De La Hoya for me is a legend of the sport, 6th division world champion. He's a legendary fighter, you know, great fighter. And he, to be honest, in his day, a great promoter as well. You know, he did some great things. You know, at one point, Golden Boy was, they were the place to be at. They were the place. They had all the fighters. And slowly, you know, Golden Boy's stable has become weaker over the years. I remember when Amir Khan joined Oscar De La Hoya in America, and literally Oscar De La Hoya for me had literally like all the fighters, and I was like, this guy has got literally all the best fighters. Mayweather was working with him. Literally everyone was with De La Hoya. De La Hoya was massive. And slowly, you know, De La Hoya's stable started to become weaker. But over the years, he's always had Canelo. And that's kind of made up for the fighters that he lost, because Canelo was such a big star. He was the biggest star in America. You know, Canelo was definitely the biggest star, you know, pay-per-view numbers wise. Canelo was on another level. But obviously, he's recently lost Canelo, and that for me obviously has had a massive impact on his promotional side, because Canelo is the biggest star in the sport. Canelo leaving anyone is going to affect your business, and I'm pretty sure it's affected De La Hoya. But I think some of the stuff that probably Canelo said probably didn't sit well with De La Hoya, and De La Hoya's thought, you know, waiting for the right opportunity to get back. And you know, he's basically got back at Canelo basically by saying Canelo ducked Charlo, and Canelo he's flat-footed and all of this stuff that he came out with, which I found a bit bizarre, to be honest with you, because when Canelo was promoted by Oscar De La Hoya used to praise Canelo a lot about his boxing skills and stuff. And now all of a sudden he's talking about, you know, him being robotic and him being flat-footed and accept all of those other things. And I don't know what made De La Hoya, you know, go on that rant, like, or not a rant, because he wasn't saying it in an interview, he's saying it on social media. And Canelo then responded. I think Canelo didn't sit well with Canelo, and Canelo basically just told him to F himself. Which, again, that's not really like Canelo, but Canelo has shown of late that he's not taking, you know, he doesn't give a crap about anything. And look what we did with Andrade, look at what he said to Andrade, and now he's getting back at De La Hoya. Yeah, this doesn't seem like it's going away anywhere, and it seems like it's getting a bit ugly. And they obviously clearly don't see eye to eye now. Canelo, for me, hasn't liked De La Hoya for a while now. Canelo also said called him a traitor, I believe. I don't know what he means by that. Obviously, there's certain things that we're not privy to that they know. And he said, do you want me to say something, you traitor, this, that, the other? It's quite clear that the relationship between them two has completely fallen apart. It's sad to see. It's sad to see guys that, you know, that together did so much for the sport of boxing, have now, their relationship has collapsed to the point where they're taking digs at each other on social media. Oscar De La Hoya is coming back. A lot of people think that he's coming back because of that reason, because of the fact that Canelo's left him, and you know, he wants to combat, and that's why he's coming back, to get some attention. I don't know, maybe he was always on the cards. Even if Canelo stayed with him, De La Hoya would have come back. But Ryan Garcia is one of his marquee fighters, Virgil Ortiz, and De La Hoya should concentrate on those guys, because those guys are potential stars as well. But obviously, when you just lost the biggest star in the sport, it's hard to get over that. It's not easy to get over that. People think it's easy. No, it's very difficult. Think about it. You've just lost the biggest star in the sport. Do you think that's easy to get over something like that? You know, De La Hoya is probably very hurt by that, especially when he's built Canelo from rock bottom, really, and built him to being the biggest star. in the sport. And don't get me wrong, Canelo's done that. Canelo had the ability, Canelo had the talent. That's why Canelo got where he got. But the fact of the matter is, when you're a promoter and you've been with somebody throughout his journey, and then you're seeing him with one of your rivals, right? And Canelo's at the stage now where this is the time to benefit from those years of graft. Don't get me wrong, Canelo under De La Hoya, I'm pretty sure, you know, made a lot of money with Canelo. And, you know, because Canelo, you know, has had some big fights under De La Hoya, Golovkin 2 fights, Jacobs, you know, the Khan fight was massive, you know, Miguel Cotto. So De La Hoya, you know, has made a lot of money from Canelo, and Canelo's obviously benefited from De La Hoya's promotion. And I think that relationship was very successful, especially initially with the amount, you know, with how big Canelo became. You have to say that De La Hoya played a massive part as a promoter. But Canelo also mentioned that Richard Schaefer played a massive part. A lot of people say that Richard Schaefer was the brains and that behind Golden Boy Promotions. But nevertheless, De La Hoya was the face. So yeah, I think it's sad to see that, you know, you got a legendary fighter in De La Hoya, and Canelo Alvarez, who's the current best fighter in the world, you know, going back and forth when they've had such a great relationship. It's never great to see, especially De La Hoya. For me, I don't understand what would cause a friction relationship. De La Hoya was a fighter himself, so he understands the needs of a fighter. So it's surprising, the fact that they would fall out. But it is what it is. I don't know what, you know, we don't know. We're not privy to the information behind the scenes. We're not privy to any of that. So why does Canelo feel so strongly about De La Hoya? We will never know unless he openly speaks up about it, which I don't think he will. And yeah, you know, I think it's got really nasty because Canelo's just told De La Hoya to F himself, which, again, like, that's not really Canelo's character, to be honest with you. Canelo's not that type of guy where he would say something like that. I think he feels a certain way probably about De La Hoya, and, you know, and the fact that he saw De La Hoya comment on probably one of his posts, probably irked him up, and that's why he responded in the way he responded. But hopefully one day they can see eye to eye. Now, De La Hoya did mention that, you know, he feels one day Canelo will be back with him. I can't see that, if I'm honest with you. Where they're going to go back together, especially after a relationship that's been damaged the way it has. Why would Canelo get back with De La Hoya? It would be, you know, it would be surprising. You never say never in boxing. Anything's possible. But with the stuff that's happening, the stuff that's happening now, you can't really see Canelo going back with De La Hoya in the future. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen at all, to be honest. But I think De La Hoya should focus on the up-and-coming stars he's got, like Ryan Garcia, like Vergil Ortiz, and try to build them into something special. You know, he's still got Jaime Munguia, another potential star. You know, Jaime Munguia, Ryan Garcia. He's got Vergil Ortiz. These are big stars. These, you know, especially someone like Ryan Garcia, who's a massive star. Look at the following that guy's got, and you know, he can fight as well. So, you know, hopefully everything can get, or everything, you know, Ryan Garcia can get himself together and get back to fighting again, and I think he's got a very bright future, and that's a future potential cash cow for Oscar De La Hoya. It's a potential cash cow, and most importantly, you know, English is his first language, so, you know, he's even more promotable than Canelo. And like I said, Canelo had to be built up. This kid don't even have to be built up. He's already been built up. But I've already seen Ryan Garcia have issues with De La Hoya. I know they've resolved it and stuff, but they had it, you know, he had issues as well. I remember there was issues with De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. So hopefully De La Hoya and, right, you know, the relationship, you know, doesn't go like it was, look like Canelo, what happened with Canelo, and go down that route. Hopefully they can have a great relationship, and maybe that Ryan Garcia stays with De La Hoya till the end of his career. Like I said, De La Hoya was a brilliant fighter, man. Trust me. I know some of the stuff that he did in his boxing career gets overlooked now, and people don't talk about it as much because of some of the stuff that happened recently in his promotional career, and certain things that have happened in De La Hoya's life. But I think De La Hoya was an unbelievable fighter. Unbelievable fighter. What a fighter. What a fighter, man. What a talent he was. So yeah, it's sad to see him and Canelo go down this route. Go like this, you know, between Canelo and De La Hoya, especially when they've had such a successful relationship, where, you know, both guys, you know, De La Hoya helped Canelo reach that level of stardom, and now, you know, they're you know, trading bad words to each other on social media, or having a go at each other on social media. Is not great, is it? But that's just what it is. That's what it is. People fall out, man. The best of friends in business fall out. Because at the end of the day, this is all business. And at one point, De La Hoya and Canelo were so close. And now they don't even see eye to eye. And they're trading insults at each other on social media. You know? I don't, like... I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. You know, I was gonna say something there, but I don't know what to make of it. To be honest with you, I can understand. Obviously, Canelo feels disrespected, so he's responded in that way. And we don't know what happened between the two, so we don't know how strongly Canelo feels, because we don't know what the backstory. So again, yeah. Hopefully one day they can mend their differences, and, you know, maybe they will work together. Like I said, stranger things have happened in boxing. Boxing's a very strange business, very strange world. You've seen guys like David Haye and Derek Chisora work together, and David Haye become the manager of Derek Chisora when we saw them have a brawl in Germany where they were rolling around, and you know, anything can happen in boxing. Boxing's a very strange sport, but yeah, hopefully things get, you know, things get mended between the two, Canelo and De La Hoya, and yeah. Maybe one day we see them working together again. But Canelo now has got a relationship with Eddie Hearn, which seems to be very successful. And Canelo looks happy as well. Canelo looks happy, which I didn't think under De La Hoya for the last couple of fights I saw. I think the relationship had broke down. Canelo was just there, like he said, it was there. It was all business. He wasn't enjoying it. It didn't look like he was enjoying it. And he wasn't enjoying being around De La Hoya. Whereas with Hearn, he's smiling, he's cracking jokes, he's having fun. And I feel like he likes Eddie Hearn. And maybe the relationship with Oscar De La Hoya was like that initially. Right? Maybe the relationship with Oscar De La Hoya initially was like that. But I feel like Eddie Hearn's right. We're seeing more of Canelo's personality now that we didn't really see under Golden Boy, where, you know, he's coming out, he's speaking in English, which again, he didn't at all when he was with Golden Boy, whereas now he is. Maybe because he knows he's got a British promoter that's promoting him, so maybe he's making more of an effort. I don't know, but it's definitely great seeing that, and I actually think he's becoming a bigger star. More people are listening to him. Of course, when you know, if you speak in English, it's the universal language. A lot of people are going to be able to understand you. More people are going to watch you, view you, and he's going to become a more bigger star. I think it's good for his brand if he starts speaking English, because he'll become even bigger. He'll become an even bigger star. And I do think that Eddie Hearn will try to bring Canelo to fight in the UK. I do. I think, imagine the event he could fill out, especially if it's against a Brit. The problem is he's beat all of our Brits, and you think, who's he left? The only real fight that you can think of between Canelo and a Brit is Chris Eubank. And really, I don't know whether people would think that's a competitive fight, to be honest. But nevertheless, that's definitely a potential fight. And Chris Eubank may get lucky with that fight because of the fact that he may be in the right place at the right time. Canelo looking for a British opponent coming here to the UK. And I do feel that someone like Canelo should take his talents worldwide, and the UK definitely is a fight UK is definitely a place where I think he should fight. I just think Canelo could become a crossover, like a huge star. Like, I think he could become even bigger than Mayweather, not from a financial point of view, but in terms of global appeal worldwide, because if he fights all over the world, or if you look at some of the great fighters that we've had in history, like Muhammad Ali, fought everywhere. Right, and I think it's very important, because remember, it's not just world champion means world. It doesn't just mean fighting in America, it means world. Right? Like now you see fights in Saudi Arabia, you see fights in, you know, in the UK, you see big fights in America. Like, you know, Canelo's had his big fights in America. I think he should expand and maybe fight in the UK. I definitely see him fighting in the Middle East before the end of his career. Just like I said, just do events that are iconic elsewhere. And I feel like you'll be recognized. When your career is all said and done, you'll be recognized a lot more rather than just fighting in America. Because let's be honest, the British fans aren't seeing you up in flesh in America because they're not going over to see Canelo's fights from here unless it's a British opponent that he's fighting, which he's fought a lot of British opponents. But imagine if he was to fight here, how the British public get to see him. A big promotion here, they get to see him fight here. It's a completely different thing, you know. So hopefully Canelo does fight in the UK. I would love to see it, and I'd love to get a ticket for that myself. But yeah, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this relationship between De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez. Why do you think it's got so bitter? What do you think's behind it? Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Canelo has basically told Oscar De La Hoya to go himself, you know. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.